Hi, mamas. This is Michelle Noble, the Calmer Mom Coach. And I have not done a video in a while, and today felt like the day. It's raining outside, it's windy. Why not stay inside and make a video? How does it get any better than that? Um, so, what was on my mind this morning is I'm okay. So, I totally geek out on the origin of words. I'm like a grammar word geek. I'll just say that. And so the two words I was playing with are this. So decision and deciding versus choosing. And I got to thinking about the word decide. I mean, D means to like undo, like sort of separate. There's separation, that decide. And so I looked it up. And decide, actually, that in the etymology of that word, it actually means to cut off possibilities, to cut off. And if you think about what we do when we decide something, there is that energy about it, like, okay, I'm not going to take all, I'm going to opt out of all of this, and I'm going to decide to do this. There's a very final kind of a concluding decide. I've made a decision. And then you think about the word choice, which I also looked up, and it comes from a whole lot of different languages, all with very similar words. But the gist of it is there's a lot of them that had to do with selecting, testing, perceiving, and then sort of like this energy of like, oh, not such a conclusive energy, like this energy of like, oh, I'm going to test this and see what happens. I'm going to choose this and see what happens. Here's some possibilities, and which one am I going to test this time? So in a lot of parenting materials, there's a lot of talk about how kids crave consistency. We need to be consistent as parents. If you say you're going to do something, you need to stick by it. And so what are all the places where, based on that kind of thinking, that messaging, you've looked at something that's coming up with your kids at whatever age they are, and you've got, I got to decide what to do about this. Boy, I got that note from the teacher, or the kid isn't sleeping well through the night. God, I got to decide, what am I going to do? And then even like before the kid's born, man, I got to decide, which midwife or doctor am I going to work with? Where are we going to have the baby? I've got to decide on a name. And all that deciding with that real energy of like, there are all these doors. I have to pick one to go through and then close all the rest. So how much possibility does that create? How open are you to being in your awareness if you're always deciding, and then once you decide something, sticking with it and being consistent? How consistent are our kids? They change so much so fast. What if you could totally acknowledge that your child today is not the same child that child was yesterday and will not be the same child tomorrow? What if you could totally acknowledge and be an allowance that in an hour your child will not be the same? And even more, what if you could totally acknowledge that in 10 minutes you will not be the same? That when you wake up tomorrow, you will actually not be the same person you are as you're listening to this video today. What if by the time this video is over, you are not actually the same person and circumstances are entirely different? What about that? And with that acknowledging, with that allowance of all that change, truth, how much sense does it make to aim for consistency? Isn't that kind of like if you get up in the morning and you see that it's cold outside and it's frosty on your car, and so you put on like a heavy sweater and a big thick scarf, and then you go out and you scrape your car, you go out for the day, and then later on in the day, the sun comes out, it starts to warm up, you're really hot in your car, and what if you're like, oh man, I am just sweating in here, but I've got to get the heat, keep the heat turned on, I've got to keep wearing this thick scarf that I put on this morning because that's what I decided to wear today. And so since I decided on it, I'm going to wear it all day long, no matter what change in environment I'm in, no matter how much the weather changes, no matter what's going on around me, I decided this is what I'm going to wear. And so I'm sticking with it. Does that sound, I mean, like, that sounds like crazy to me. And so whose idea is it that our kids are more predictable than the weather? Whose idea is it that our kids are going to be more the same than the spaces we move in and out of throughout the day? Does that read for you that your kid is going to be more the same in 2 hours than here in the Pacific Northwest where I live, the weather, and that then we need to make these decisions and stick by them? I know for me and my kids, that is not the reality we live in. I can't think of anywhere I think maybe the one place I'm consistent in my life is that I do pretty much floss on a daily basis. Flossing and brushing, that's kind of it. Everywhere else, it changes up quite often. And I've had a lot of people find that to be irritating. But it's who I am, it's who I be, and it's who my kids are. So what if instead of deciding and then sticking with it and being consistent, what ease would it create in your parenting and in the possibilities with your kid if you would just choose, hey, this morning I'm choosing to put on this scarf and I may choose in a half hour to take it off. Today I'm choosing to let my kids know that it doesn't work for them. It doesn't work for me if they're this noisy at the table. And tomorrow, if I'm feeling more relaxed and everything's easy, maybe it's not that important to me. And maybe my kids are changeable and flexible enough that they can actually receive and roll with that. And that opens a door for them to be the changing beings that they actually are. You have to look at, when does it work for you to be changeable? And when does it work for you to have like certain things where it only works for you if it goes one way. But you can always be in choice, and you can always be open to re-choosing based on your awareness and what's going on and your points of view in that 10 seconds and what's going on with your kids, so that you can be flexible and changeable and choosable and choosing with what's actually going on and true for them in that 10 seconds versus something that you decided. Okay, thanks. I hope that gives you some energies to play with. Food for thought. Let me know, does it light you up, or does it sound like garbage? All right. Thank you, mamas. Love you. Bye.